boxing atheists into worldview, it's not a good apologetics, Gothix.
I think it is. I just think that maybe we're talking past each other. I believe you when you say that atheists can disagree and that atheists can vote for whoever. I believe that. I believe that there are atheists who follow moral values that Christians share, and I believe that there are atheists that follow moral values that Satan shares. But I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that atheism in itself is a worldview, because the foundation of atheism is subjective when it comes down to it. Like, for example, if I were to ask you, what is your stance on any moral issue? How would you justify it? Like, how are you saying that this is bad because of blank? Like, where does that come from?
I'll give it to you straight up.
Okay.
All right. I determine what is right and wrong for myself.
Okay.
I don't go to an atheist and ask him what he thinks right or wrong is.
Mm-hmm.
I do it purely for myself. And what I do, my standard that I use is I look at something I may do or be involved in, and I ask myself, is this something that would harm other people or myself? Or is it something that would help other people or myself? And that's it. That's all I do. Okay. And I determine that for myself.
Okay. So is it safe to say you are your own moral authority based on that?
For myself, not for you. I'm not your moral authority.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay. Fair.
But fair. I'm my own moral authority. Yeah. But there's also society. Mm-hmm. So it's a twofold thing when it comes to morality. Everyone has their own morality. To deny so is kind of ridiculous. I mean, look around. Everyone has their own ideas of what may be right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part is we live in a society and we live in a country and there's laws.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be like a societal morality. And then there's a personal morality.
So I think that's where I'm having trouble. Okay. If you're saying that your morality comes from what you personally think is good for you, and then we factor in the societal norms, that's still basing morality on the opinions of people. Because earlier you said you're going to disagree, as an atheist, you're going to disagree with all these other atheists on certain topics.
Yeah, and sometimes I do.
And sometimes you do. And I think that is the dilemma that I'm trying to expose, is your version of morality is going to look drastically different from this atheist and that atheist. And so if we're all doing things what's right in our eyes, then how is anything objectively wrong?
Then you get into these words, right? Objective and subjective.
Mm-hmm.
These are words and they have meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're not just, used for cliches. They have actual meaning.
Absolutely. I believe that.
And morality, all right, is subjective. That's just, it has to be. There is no other way around that. It just is. Mm-hmm. All right. You could pretend it's not. You can make believe it's not. But it's subjective, even if, let's suppose you're correct and there is a God, mm-hmm. and this God makes morality. He says you must do this and that's moral. You shouldn't do that and that's immoral. If that is true, the author, the mind behind that morality is God, and it is subjective to the mind of God. So even if that is the case, morality is still subjective. And it is without a question, like undeniably in every single way you can look at it, it is always subjective when a human being thinks about something. Because when a subject thinks and makes a decision, like we all do every day on morality, that is without a doubt subjective. So morality is subjective, whether it comes from God or whether it comes from a person. And that Gothix is whether we like it or not. That's
Can I
just the way
ask
it
you,
is.
Brooklyn? Okay, so it seems that you have an issue with the word objective. Do you believe there's such a thing as objective truth?
Yeah, I think there is such a thing.
Okay.
Right? And an objective truth would be truth that is verifiably and objectively real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not my opinion that doesn't make something true. It's not what I believe that doesn't make something true. All right? Something to be true has to be testable and has to be something that is objectively real. That would be truth.
Okay.
Or, truth is not an opinion. It's not what a guy wrote in a book 2,000 years ago. That is not how we determine what is true.
Okay. So
Sorry to inform you.
when you say that objective truth is something that you can test, do you mean you personally can test? You personally have to be present for you to test it? I ask this because I assume you've read lots of books. Do you know all the authors who wrote the books? Were you there when they wrote them?
Yeah, no, I definitely am a person that looks at data and looks at research and reads books, etc. And then I can make a decision on what I think is true. All right, but I'm not the determinant of what is true. All right, truth is something I would say I think this is true.
Okay.
Right? But I'm not the one who determines truth unless I am involved, let's say, in a scientific study or something.
Well, hold on, Brooklyn. With all due respect, earlier you said the truth is that morality is subjective. So do you determine the truth? Is that an objective truth statement?
Well, you got to follow me here, Gothix.
I'm trying my best.
I determine truth for myself.
Oh,
I am not saying I am the arbiter of all truth.
Okay. Right? So it's your truth and my truth, and everyone has their own version of truth.
In practical application, yes. All right. That doesn't mean that we all have it right. All right. I could think something is true. That is not true. That is possible.
Okay.
All right. But in practically speaking, when we're talking to other human beings and they say, well, I think this is true, and another person says, I think that isn't true. All right. They both have valid thoughts. And now you have to go further. If you want to settle that little dispute between people, you have to go further. You have to now get into real critical analysis and really testing to see what is true.
Okay.
But to have an opinion of what is true, yeah, we all have it.
Okay, so I am going to go to your house right now. I'm going to steal your hat. And I'm going to say that this is my hat because it's mine and it's owed to me. And I'm also going to take your house. So now you got no place to live. And it's totally fine because based on my subjective morality and my truth, you can't tell me otherwise. Is that okay with you?
Well, we got to look at it. I could tell you otherwise. So, I mean, that I could argue, I could fight, I can do whatever I want to protect my house and my belongings. So in a practical way, in real life, I can do whatever I think is right, and I could say, no, you are wrong, and I could battle you for that.
So do you see the dilemma, though? Is now we have two conflicting worldviews. So who's the mediator?
The mediator, if you and I disagree on something, there is no, there's nothing going to come in here and say, well, now they are the arbiter of all truth. All right, that whole idea of there being an arbiter of all truth is just not realistic. You have an unrealistic thought.
I see what you're saying, but it still doesn't answer the question. Like, if someone broke the law, they would be going to jail. They would have to pay a fine, whatever, appear in court. So in that secular realm of a scenario, there is a third party. There is someone that the mediator. So
there's a law and there's a court system.
Okay.
And that's, the country we live in. I mean, I would maybe say, well, now we caught Gothix and she did this and it's against the law of our country, and I'm going to press charges, and you might end up in prison for that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you might get off.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, would it be okay with you if the law stated that I was legally allowed to go into your house, steal your stuff, steal your house, and kick you out? So that
I'd be totally against that.
But why? Because it's the law.
I don't. I told you, you gotta understand, Gothix.
I'm trying.
Right? I know, but it's like I don't. I'm trying to explain it the easiest way I can. All right. There are two elements or two aspects to law and morality.
Okay.
It's not one thing. It's both.
All right.
It's personal.
Okay.
Right. That is just, I think it's right. I don't think it's right.
All right. All
That's
right.
personal. All right. That is unique to me as a human being. Then there is societal law and societal morality. So maybe 500 years ago, people thought, a particular thing might have a particular punishment, and now they don't. And society changed. Mm-hmm. Okay. And society does change. We all know that.
Of course. But I think my question here is, though, you're saying that morality is two parts. It's one part, my personal belief. The other part is societal. And so if we have a government where everyone is implementing law based on their personal beliefs and they're creating those laws, then why is it wrong that I go into your house and I steal your stuff?
Again, it's wrong for me because I think it's wrong.
But you would just have to accept it, is what you're saying.
Well, I'm not saying I don't push my morality on anybody. I don't do that.
But you would accept it, though. It's the law. I can steal your stuff.
The law is the law, and the law is not determined by me. Okay. I'm not determining that law, but I'm a part of a country where I have one voice, one vote, I can go to the voting booth and decide that I'm going to pull the lever for one particular thing that I think is a moral issue. Mm-hmm. And I have the ability to do that, but I'm not controlling everyone's morality. That comes to institutions that are in control.
Morality is already legislated, though.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So what do you mean? Can't control it. You can't create a law to compel someone to love another person or be kind, but morality is the only thing that we really can legislate. Your explanations are painting a very grim, nihilistic society where everyone can do whatever the hell they want. And I wonder if that's the end goal. Is that your argument, that it sort of is what it is and everything is going to shit?
No, I'm not a nihilist.
Okay.
So that's not where I come from.
Okay.
I'm a realist. Mm-hmm. I believe in reality. Okay. And reality is that each person has their own minds. They subjectively use their minds, because once you use a mind, that is exactly what the word subjective means.
Okay.
So if I think something, all right, and I use my mind to determine morality, which I do, Gothix, I do that, and you do that as well.
Oh,
Right?
I disagree, but continue.
You don't use your mind?
No. I continue your statement.
Okay. That is my personal morality, and that will vary from person to person. And there's going to be a big overlap where most people are going to agree, murder is wrong. I think most people will agree with that. Not everybody. It's not universal. It's not every human being is going to agree with that, but most people will. All right. And that's what I have. I have a personal morality.
Okay.
And I told you what it's based on for me. All right. And then there's society in which I live. And that's the extent of it. There's no perfect arbiter.
Question. You said we all use our mind. So when you say that there is no God and you say that morality is subjective, you are using your mind to form those conclusions, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So my question is, if our ability to use our mind is subjective, that means that you could be wrong, even in the statement that you just said.
Of course.
Okay.
And why is that a problem?
Well, you could be wrong, but you're stating these things as truth claims.
Everybody could be wrong.
You're on the one hand, you're saying morality is subjective, and on the other hand, you're saying our ability to use our mind is subjective, which means that your statement on morality being subjective could be wrong because your way of using logic is subjective compared to everyone else.
My thoughts are subjective.
Okay.
Your thoughts are subjective.
Do you think
that is just using the meaning of these words?
Okay.
All right. Your thoughts, whether you think they're not, or whether you pretend they're not, or make believe they're not, your thoughts are subjective. My thoughts are subjective. That's just reality, Gothix.